A brand new report has Montreal linked to a very surprising name that a lot of Habs fans are familiar with, and some of you might really like or not like this, and they want to sign him to a PTO. We're going to get into that. Plus, we got to talk about Kent Hughes and what he said about Lane Hutson and his development plan. That was a little note on Oliver Kapanen and how he's becoming incredibly underrated, all coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. Before we get into the video, I just want to remind you guys, 52% are subscribed, 48% are not subscribed. And that number is actually going up the more videos. So if you're part of that 48% that's not subscribed, we got daily videos here. We got weekly streams. So if you want to be part of that, hit that button down below. We'd really appreciate it. Jesse, we're going to start out with Oliver Kapanen. Now, Nicolas Cloutier, of course, a fantastic Habs reporter, Habs insider, didn't ask me anything on Reddit yesterday. There was a lot of amazing questions, and I'll link it down below for you guys to go have a look. He had some fantastic answers, but one thing caught my eye, Jesse, and I think it caught both of our eyes, not just because he also played a game today, but it was about Oliver Kapanen. Power Turtle SK said, what's your opinion on the most underrated Habs prospect? And Nicolas said, the fact there's no hype on Kapanen right now blows my mind. I've talked to his coach in Finland quite a bit. He's in love with the player. He even thinks Oliver has a shot of making the team this year. LOL. Oliver has pro attributes. What he did in the playoffs in the league, it reminds me of Lehkonen with Frölunda. And then Oliver Kapanen goes out today and scores the game-winning goal in a 3-2 win. And not to mention that, just a little quote from Patrick Bexel, who's very much in on all Habs things Europe. He said he's been good. He's been building chemistry with line mates. Of course, I want him to stay. When he goes to camp, we wish him luck and hope he takes a spot there. It's a good chance for the player, says Olli Jokinen, Oliver Kapanen's coach. Jesse, some amazing stuff on Kapanen. I know we talked at length about him, but it feels like, yeah, he's just fallen off the radar in favor of Demidov and some more juicy prospects. He's really, really good.
Yeah, Oliver Kapanen's coach is in full-blown love with Kapanen. Platonically speaking, of course, right? But you have to see that this guy is just a solid player. And I've mentioned on the pod, so many NHL-ready attributes that just would fit so well with this Habs team. So there is a reason why he's getting this huge praise. And when I think of an ideal bottom six forward, I think of Oliver Kapanen right away. Just his attention to detail, has that offensive upside, but we know defensively, just so aware as well. Now, that being said, it's he did score a game-winning goal, by the way, today for Timrå, which is important to note, but it's seeing him above that bottom six, seeing him penetrate top six, that might be a far stretch, at the same time, but you look, he's getting comparisons from his coach to Lehkonen. We know Lecky now playing on the second line for a very good Colorado Avalanche team, contending team, right? So there is a chance for this type of player, even though we just typecast him right away, could be a really good bottom six player. Obviously, getting that top six, that's going to take some time to do. But if we look at the track record of other kind of projectables, it's he's right there with them all at the same time. So really big fan of his game. Really looking forward to seeing him in training camp this year in Montreal.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big thing. I think we're going to be a bit surprised by him. And again, the Habs top six looks pretty locked up. And I think they have so many good guys coming over the next few years. It's not saying the Kapanen's not good enough to get there, but I think you're right. I think it's a bit of a stretch for that to be top six because of all the talent Montreal has, but he's very talented himself. A lot of his skills are translatable to the NHL. I think the big question is whether his scoring will translate over, but hey, not every prospect needs to hit, but I really like Kapanen. I think a lot of you guys do. Let us know what you think about this down below as we're going to move on to the second topic. This is a quick one here. Kent Hughes. Now, he did some interviews. He did one on BPM Spa. He was talking to Tony Marino. He was talking to people, and he said, a lot of things, but there's one quote I wanted to bring out that he said about Lane Hutson, Jesse, and some Habs fans saying, oh, no way, and some saying, oh, yeah, this makes sense. Let's just get into it. That's really interesting. I want to hear what you guys had to say down below as well, but he said, I don't want to hide Lane Hutson. We want Lane Hutson to turn into the best defenseman that he can become. If he needs to improve his game and he's better off in the AHL, we'll send him to Laval, but we won't keep him in the NHL just to turn him into a power play specialist, and I really like this. I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't think it is. I really like this because it just shows, I don't care what people say. We're doing what's best for the player, what we think is best for the player. So far, that has paid dividends, Jesse, and I do like that idea, too, to not just typecast him right away because his player profile would naturally make people assume he's going to be that power play specialist. They want him to develop into the best version of himself, not force him into the situation that he'd probably be good at right away. I really like this take from Kent Hughes. I would not mind him in the AHL, but I think Lane might just end up proving with his skill that he deserves to be on the Habs. But I do like the fact that they're not guaranteeing him that spot right out the gate.
For sure. His talent is undeniable, though. I think that we believe that. Kent Hughes does believe that as well. Huge fan of this player. That being said, it's they don't want him to just be a one-trick pony. And for sure, like, look, it's easy to look at his size, everything else, and think, okay, this guy's going to just get abused at the NHL level. Until you watch him play, and you see that you really don't need to worry about this. Exactly that. Like, you don't need to even worry about him in the defensive end. The offensive zone, it speaks for himself. He's really effective of just kind of getting to the puck and really using his stick, using angles to really kind of, be so effective defensively. Like, do I think that he would probably be best paired with like a physical, more of a stay-at-home type of defenseman? Yeah, absolutely. But when you then have that type of combo, it really gets to a point where you don't need to worry about Lane in the defensive zone, which, again, I'm still surprised by. We're still shocked, like, given his size, but Lane just continues to prove us wrong with his work ethic, with his skill, with his athleticism, right? He just continues to prove critics wrong. And for him, like, I see him making a big splash in Montreal early on. The talent is just too much there.
That's the thing. The skill is absolutely incredible. But like they've shown, they're not afraid to say, hey, you need to work on some other things. We're going to send you down. I think he's going to prove that he's worthy of being in the NHL, especially with that one roster spot now open from Jordan Harris being gone. But at the same time, it is really refreshing to hear that they're like, nah. We're playing a long-term game. We're playing a long game here. We're making sure these guys are going to become the best versions they can be. Final topic. Now, this is just objectively hilarious. This is absolutely hilarious. If you've been following the Habs for any period of time, the fact the Habs are in on Filip Zadina is Zadina. I think it's Zadina, but still, it's insane. So this comes from a tweet from Pavel Bartha. He said that agent Darren Ferris told Lance Lusovsky of the Buffalo News that Filip Zadina is nearing a PTO deal, but will instead sign with another team. Because there was rumors that he had agreed to sign with Buffalo. Then it came out that he wasn't going to. And maybe by the time you're watching this, he has already signed with the team. I don't really know what's going on here. But he said, but he will instead sign with another team. There was also speculation about the Leafs, Avalanche, and Habs, mainly because the ice was moving. And if we bring him up, I mean, like, look, he was waived last year, Jesse. We made a video about it, and we were kind of like, don't bring him in. Like, there's no need. Like, right now, there's young guys. We want to give some other guys a chance. I still don't really see a world where he cracks the NHL roster for Montreal and takes another guy's roster spot. But he did finish the season with San Jose last year, 23 points in 72 games, 13 goals. It's not crazy for bottom six production, but again, if you're not familiar with the whole situation, just take a look at the 2018 draft. I won't say anymore. I'll just let you take a look at some of the picks that were there. What do you think of this, Jesse? Because when I heard this, is look, a PTO, a professional tryout, is nothing. Maybe he goes to Laval or something, but I think it'd be hilarious for the memes, but I don't see this working out for the Montreal Canadiens themselves in the short term.
I think that Kent Hughes is strictly about his business. That's all that he cares about, and rightfully so. So that being said, it is interesting to hear that they are in on potentially giving him that opportunity. Again, Sabres just can't seem to have anything nice whatsoever, but it's, really a case where there's not a huge amount of risk. For sure, we did get Montembeault on waivers. Personally speaking, it doesn't feel like a natural fit. But as we know, Kent Hughes has just earned so much trust from all of us that if he feels like it's in the Habs' best interest to bring him to camp, we're going to say, okay, great. At worst, it's a depth option that could somehow play out. We know how it's kind of shaping up for the Habs right now, though. We got a lot of young guys coming in, which I would say, the chances of Zadina making this team with so many young guys, again, adding a line into our top six, which only kind of further clutters our bottom six, doesn't make things easier for him. We're kind of translating that next mold. And again, it's like kind of the reclamation sort of idea again, kind of the Kent Hughes MO. Not sure if it's the complete fit, but again, a very, very little risk on this.
Yeah, I guess that's true too. Like, if you bring him in for a tryout, what is the risk? Maybe he shows that he's great, but the problem in his NHL career is he's always shown the flashes. People know he has the skill. He just hasn't been able to put it together on the ice. His shots would go wide. His shots wasn't hard enough. It wasn't deceptive enough. He didn't quite put everything together. But hey, like we said, Jesse, Montreal's becoming that destination for players. And while I don't see this being a long-term solution for Montreal, I don't see them doing this. Who really knows? And Montreal could be the spot that solves everyone else's problems. Let us know down below what you think of the guy. A lot of Habs fans were calling for them to draft over Kotkaniemi all the way back in 2018. Down below, we'd love to hear from you, because that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're almost at 14,000. We're like 200 subs away. I probably should have said that earlier, but if you're still watching right now and you haven't hit that button and you want to see us hit 14,000, we'd really appreciate if you could hit it right now. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.